Our guest today is professional men's tennis player. He's currently ranked 326 in the world, and his career highest was 229 in the world. And he also represented India for Davis Cup. We have with us Mukund Sasikumar. Thank you, Mukund, for taking the time out to talk to me. Before
Pleasure is
we go
mine.
ahead, I want to congratulate you because I know it's not an easy feat to achieve these numbers in ATP, and I'm happy for you.
Thanks a lot.
It must have been a long, hard journey with a lot of dedication and hardships along the way. Tell us more about that journey. What was it like, and what did you have to do to reach here?
Uh, well, I think more than what I could do, I was very lucky in many ways. I think I was very privileged and lucky in finding the right team at the very right time, and to have that support from parents financially also. I think because money decides a lot in this sport, and to have that kind of support from parents in a long term, not just say okay, go train in Spain for 6 months and we want to see results, but to say okay, make a 5-year plan, stick to it, and go the distance and see what happens. For someone to say that, and also my younger sister to always assure me at that young age, at like 13, 14. I remember to say, don't worry about me, I want you to make it in tennis. So I think I was just very lucky as a person to have that kind of family support, because I think many guys in this country, they've worked as hard as me. I wouldn't say harder, because I'm one of the guys who really put in all I could, but definitely as hard as me, and who wanted it probably as bad as me, but didn't have the same support and same backing from their lives. And also to find my coach at the very right time, my coach from Austria, at the age of 21, that I randomly met him. And I think if that wouldn't happen, if that meeting wouldn't happen in Bangkok, then I don't know if I would be in a position today. Of course, 320 sounds very low, but I think before COVID, I was in a stage where people were saying, okay, he's ready to make top 100, and I was beating guys 50, 60 in the world. And I hadn't, until March, until COVID started, I didn't beat anyone. I didn't lose to anyone below like 150 or 140. So to pull that off in a 2, 3 year span, I think he just dedicated everything that he could. And he really took my dream as his, and said, yes, I think you are worth it as a person, and as a player. And yeah, I want to do this for you. So I did get very, I don't know if I should say it luck or destiny or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, if everything didn't come together, then this wouldn't have happened. So it's not just me doing the effort, or I can do whatever I want, but if I don't get the right support at the right time, then I would have ended up like many others. So I think I'm one of those guys who was willing to do it, but at the same time, who got what was needed.
Yeah, that's really amazing for you. I also came from a tennis background, and I've seen, especially in India, how around at the age of 17, 18, there's this crunch point. You need to make the inevitable decision, whether to quit
Yeah,
completely
and
or
also I
yeah.
had like friends in my life. See, again, if you look at the flip side coin of it, why are there so many good people in my life? Maybe because of the person I am. That is a different story, Maybe I deserve to have them because that's who I am with them, the way I behave with them. But I think if you take Prajnesh, for example, if he wouldn't tell me, I remember this conversation in Jakarta in the hotel reception, and I still in my mind. In 2017, he said, if you are going to be roaming around like this without a coach, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks in Hyderabad, 2 weeks there, you're not going to make it. I'm going to sign it right now and give it in your hands. You're going to be another Prajnesh who's hanging around at the age of 30, around maybe, yeah, I'll give it to you that you might make a close to 100 later in your life, but you'll never be one of the big guys in the sport. So you need to find a coach, and you need to dedicate your life to him and do what he says, believe in the process, and only then you have a chance. So, this conversation, I think it basically changed my mind, changed my life, because that's when I started looking for someone, and that's when I met my coach. So even things like that, to have a friend like him, he didn't have to say that, because even though as friends, he can still chill with me and crack a few jokes and leave. But it's tougher for him to have this conversation than just say, yeah, man, all is good, and yeah, you're playing well. He could have easily said that, and I probably wouldn't have even realized. But he had the courage to come up to my face and say that. I had the openness in my mind to listen to it and not say, "Who are you to tell me?" So it goes both ways. I listened to him. He told me, but yeah, end of the day, so yeah, I wish I met my coach at like 17, 18. Then I would be a different player. I think today I think I would be playing on the tour right now. But still, I think 21 is still not too that late to still get up there.
Yeah, what I meant was at 17, 18, you have the decision to make of whether to go pro or play college tennis where you get best of both worlds, and later you can go pro again, or just dive into it professionally completely without any backup. As we are told, we need, education is important in India, a lot of conditioning towards it. So what made you dive fully into tennis? Did you make the decision alone, or support system, or what was your thought process going on at the time?
See, I think education-wise, my father played a very smart card in making me finish whatever that I finished early, because I was smart enough to write those exams or whatever. So I graduated at 15, which still means nothing because the degree these days doesn't earn you anything. But my parents, in general, they are just people who just don't care about what others say, because they are just practical people in life. So they were just clear in saying, okay, you know what? So what if he fails at tennis? Yeah, he'll find his way somehow. He can be a coach or do whatever. So it's not a big deal that if it's not gonna hurt as if he tried his hand in tennis and things didn't work out. There's still million ways to make money, and he'll figure out how to live life. So they weren't really worried about that thing, saying what will happen, what if he fails. They were very clear from the beginning that okay, he is talented in it or whatever, and we have to give it the best shot. And if a decision should be taken, it should be taken at 23, 24, not at 17, 18. And at 18 I won a futures already, so it didn't make sense to look back after that to them. Now I had my doubts personally, because I was like, what, should I go, should I not go, maybe at like 15, 16. But they were very clear. Especially my mom, she was like, yeah, okay, so what if you fail? Worst that can happen is you're gonna be a coach. I think you're a great coach anyways. You students are gonna love you no matter what, and you'll still make your money, even if you charge normally. So, and you don't need to live a luxurious life, super luxurious life. You're still gonna have basic necessities. We have saved enough for you, so we are happy to give you that money in case you try your 100% at something and fail. Then it's on us. I mean, we'll take it. So
That's amazing to have the right kind of support. Generally in a sportsman's life, there's a lot of gap between the parents and what the player needs in terms of understanding. What do you think ideal parenting is for a sports person?
to be a parent and not try and be a coach, I think that's the most important, because when if I think Rohan was telling me this once, and I really remember. If I graduated into IIT or IIM, for example, my dad's not gonna come and tell the professor to teach me what my dad thinks will make me score marks, right? It hasn't happened in history, and it never will, because they think okay, IIT has the best professors. So similarly, you can't do that with a tennis coach either. Take any university for that matter. You if your daughter gets into Harvard tomorrow, you won't go and tell the professor like, no, this is what she should be studying, right? So then why do that with a tennis coach? It's just common sense, I think. Just because you're getting to witness the classes doesn't mean it gives you a right to interfere and say something. In IIT, you can't go see what the person is studying. You put them in the college and then you meet them 4 hours later or 4 years later. But here you get to see the child grow and develop in front of your eyes, which is a better thing, which is a great thing. But still, I think parents take liberty of that, and that's one thing. The second thing is they connect their failure to their child also and say, yeah, we failed in life, we didn't work hard enough when I was your age, and we don't want you to be in our state. But yeah, when you don't want your child to suffer something that you are suffering right now because of negligence, you also have to consider that you can't also take away the fun you had in your life. So okay, you don't want him to suffer, that's one good thing, but you also want him to have those good memories that you had in your life, whatever it is, talking to friends or anything for that matter of fact. So many anxious reasons, and I also understand, because it's not easy to be a parent, right? Because many Indian couples, they get married before they get the maturity to handle somebody's life. They are normal college going people who had zero exposure in their lives and who had zero idea about parenting, mental health, so many issues that they don't even know what it is. They went to college, they got a job, they got married. You Apart from, did they even want to get married? That's a question you need to ask them. But they get married, and did they even want a child? That's another $1 million question, but they do have a child. So 99% of them, they don't even have an idea of what's going on. What is tennis? What does it mean to have a child? What is the child thinking? So very few people even had that exposure to say, okay, this is how a child thinks. This is how, from this age to this age, this is how I need to behave. From this age to this age, I need to step it up a bit. Then I need to back off a bit. So all these things, most of them don't even know. They're just normal immature people. They were immature students, they are immature working people, and they're immature parents. Because they didn't have the time to learn. Everything just went too fast in their lives. They studied, they got married, they had kids. Where was the time to even understand themselves and figure out many things, what they have to do? So that is mainly the basic reason, I think. They did not even have the time to reflect and see, okay, tennis, what should I tell? What is the best way to reach? They just do what they feel is right, and that's not good enough. They are not at that level of maturity. This might offend a few people, but I think it's nothing bad. It's just a fact. That's all. Like, if you would give me three kids to parent at the age of 20, I wouldn't be able to do it because I am just not good enough. Maybe today I can, because today I know certain things in my life, how things work and everything. So it's just about being good enough or not. And parenting is a skill, I think. So are you good in that or are you not? And then that decides everything basically.
Was there a gap in the way you were being brought up by your parents? If yes, how did you fill that gap? Or how did you know all these things you're talking about?
You mean a gap as in
You said an ideal kind of parenting that needs for a sports person. Did you get that from your parents?
well, mixed, I would say. Like, I grew up with my mom. I never had a chance to inherit anything from my dad as such, because we were just living apart most of the time, because he was getting transferred every now and then, and my mom and me, we stayed back in Hyderabad. So my mom, and she's very in a way naive person, but in a way very smart also, because she's from a small town in Tamil Nadu, and there's not much. She learned life with me. I think we grew up together. What I am at 24, she is at 49 now. So I think our growth has been very similar. The things we saw and learned in life is more or less the same. uh what one great thing, or one good thing what she did was, I think the best decision of her life, when I was 15, which many people think I am here because of my mom. She took so much effort for me. Many coaches in Hyderabad say that, which is not true. I think at 15 she said, "Listen, Mukund, you reached a level where I didn't think you would reach, but right now I just cannot help you. And I think if you need to go higher, you need to go on this journey yourself. Either you come back successful or either you don't. But I feel like if I continue with you now, it's only gonna pull you back, because it's first of all, for the money you spend on me, no matter how stingy I am, it's still money. And this money you can invest it into your own sport with the right people. And second of all, I will not let you grow. So you need to make certain experiences by yourself, and figure out this on your own. And I think this was the call which changed, which great parenting is about. I think that to know when to say, okay, you know what, now I am of no use to you anymore. It's I did what I could, and I'm gonna be at your back supporting you, but now you need to go by yourself. And this is something which many parents fail to do, and even they don't even today. No, they keep holding on, and they feel, and my dad even today feels that if my mom travels with me, I'll do better and all that. And even many coaches, no, I don't want to take names, but when I met someone, they're like, you should travel with your mom, and my mom's like, no, I mean, that's just not the right thing to do. So that was a good, apart from all the good and bad things, they were bad. My mom, did she say things that she shouldn't be saying before a match? She did, of course. I mean, she's human, so she can. And I make so many mistakes, she also can. So did she do bad things? She did. Or did she do good things? She also did. But at what I think decided everything was that decision to say, okay, now I am done.
Yeah, it takes a lot of awareness to say something like that coming from a parent, especially in tennis. They're so used to holding on to you because they see you the entire day. They don't even let you go for a bit like school or college. So it's amazing that she could
Yeah.
say
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what she was aware of. She said, I am not an expert in general. I mean, I'm a very normal person. I don't know much about the world. I did what I could for you, and this is the end of my capacity. Then from now, you need people who have really made it in the sport, who know the world, who have been up there. Being with me won't help you much more than this, as a player and as a person. So.
Mukund, you talk a lot about mental health. Why is that important to you? Did you personally have any experience with not being healthy mentally?
Of course I did. I mean, I personally, I don't know, because I didn't really realize if this is what it is, but I saw it with my father. Yeah, I mean, we didn't know it was depression until the end of the second year, and that was just very sad, because that was like the worst 3 years of my life back in 2012, when my granddad died, and my dad was acting strange, and he wanted me to stop playing tennis, and we didn't even know that there's something called depression and it needs medical help. Me and my mom, we just thought, okay, he's just acting strange, or he's having a bad day. And it took us so much time, because I was like, what, 15 back then. So it took us almost 2 years to even realize, okay, you know what, this is a, just like how it's a disease, it's a treatable thing which needs help. It's not him who is doing it, but it's the condition what is forcing him to do it. So that's when I learned a lot about that thing. And then it after that, I really gained awareness of it, and said, okay, this thing is real. It's really there. That I saw it up front, how a person can change from day and until night, how it takes you by shock, and how it surprises you completely. and it's not visible, when you have stomach pain, you see the person crying in pain, or if there's something else, you see it in front, but this is something you just cannot see. They look like normal people, but only the close ones, that the change in the voice tone, and the words they use, everything, it starts bringing that doubt in you to say, okay, you know what, something doesn't look right, and if had we known it earlier, then our lives would have been much easier, like much easier. We wouldn't be through so much without that. But unfortunately, in like that was like, yeah, 8 years back, the awareness wasn't as much as today, and it was not a normal thing like today. Now it was still a taboo back then. It was still, if it comes for a man, especially if he says, you know what, I'm suffering, I feel pressure from the family, and this was more of like something to be ashamed of, and which is completely stupid, which I think is getting better slowly these days. These days it's becoming a normal thing, saying, okay, if you're human, you can have it. And back then this wasn't the case, so we're not even sure who to ask, or should we discuss about it openly. So maybe if we did that, then it would have been much easier, had I called up a few friends and said, you know what, this has been going on, or something, but I didn't. So yeah, I think I'm happy. Of course, it's far away from where it is today, but I'm happy to see that it's becoming more of a normal thing, even for men, to say, okay, I am scared, or I am feeling the pressure, I am ashamed of, or I feel embarrassed, I don't feel manly enough, or all those things. They are normal feelings. Everybody feels it at one point. Everybody feels the you call that social embarrassment, no? When you're in front of few people, there are a few days you feel it, and these things, they're getting more and more normal. It should get even more normal.
Did this awareness at a young age ensure that you don't get into negative spaces yourself mentally?
uh well, that's I think I have a much lesser chance for that to happen, because I'm an open person. Always when I feel something bad, I straight away say it. So I don't let something build up inside me from a young age. I'm not this person who thinks, oh, what will this person think about me if I say this. If I feel bad, okay, I feel bad. So it was even after my breakup. I told my mom, I was the first one to go say, listen, it is getting to my head. What do I do now? Or if I spoke to my, even after a year or 2 years after it, when I still feel, okay, I can't forget her, okay, fine, I can't forget her. No, I'm open to speaking my feelings, and in front of other women as well. I'm not thinking, oh, what will they think about me, or and I'm okay to say that even to my wife, because it's something that happened in my past, right? It's not something that I made up. It is it is been in my life. It's part of my life. So I'm not this person who, right now at least, and I hope I continue to be like this, but for now I don't see myself going that far, because when something is a problem, it is projected to the team, or the set of close people in the next 48 hours. So then the solutions start coming in immediately, so it gets solved within a short period of time.
You willing to share and being open to feelings is, I feel, just half the part. It's amazing to have people who are receptive to what you're saying, to actually listen to you and understand you. I think that's also important.
Yes, as I said, definitely. But well, parents, more than parents. The people who have been in this journey are apart from them. From to my dad, literally, I've never spoken any of these things. My mom, yes, she's one of them. My sister, my younger sister, and my coach, or my trainer, or anybody for that matter. Of course, like you said, they're being receptive, and at the same time, I have also tried my best to not take small things to them. So I think they really know, okay, when this guy is talking something, shit's being serious right now. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying it. So I think I was also good in that, and I was reasonable in that to not misuse that receptiveness that you were saying, right? So when I am saying, they know that okay, if there's something which can be solved by myself, it will be. So if I am asking for help, then it is for a genuine reason. So that is also very important to maintain it with receptive people, to not make sure that you're only going to them for things which you need them for.
I know you put your mind out on social media. Obviously, everyone will have different opinions about things. Does it bother you if they don't agree with what you feel so strongly towards?
Normally, nobody agrees, and I really don't care.
I think that's the best way to go. Uh,
Opinion is opinion. No, it's a judgment. It is. I may be right or I may be wrong. So how can I take it personal if somebody doesn't agree to me? What, see, because social media is all about judgments. There's no facts out there. Mukund is my name. This is a fact. But is Mukund a nice name or a bad name? This is just a way of point of view. Maybe you feel it's an unbelievable name. I feel it's a crappy name. Someone else feels it can be better another way. So this is something that it doesn't make me happy if 10 people agree with me or if 10 people don't agree with me. Why I put certain things on social media is to help someone in the same situation. Not that I want to be a hero or not, because if I'm writing like, for example, something about Osaka or something, my intention was that if another player feels it, just to come across and say, listen, don't feel embarrassed, or it's okay to do what she did. So that is what because I know guys and girls, they go through this, and whenever I put something or I say something to another person, it is to help that person out rather than get people to agree on what I say, because end of the day, it's their life and not mine. Like,
right. What do you think is more important to win a match? To beat the opponent's game or his mind or the physical sustaining capabilities? And how do you work towards it?
uh well, it can be broken down in two things. I think there are some guys in the world who are just better than the others. So then those guys, they're more focused on their mind and their game. They just play the sport better. They come in, they play at a level where you just can't do anything. It's Roger, Tsitsipas, Rafa, whoever. They're like 20, 30 guys in the world who can come in and just play at a level where nobody can do anything, because if he serves 200 on the lines every single time, how you want to break him? And then if he's returning like a joke, he's reading everywhere, and he's just big, he's going one this corner, one that corner, then pretty much they're gonna win that day. And then there are the other set of players who thrive on the opponent's weaknesses and the physical side of it. They're trying to get to the place where they can expose the other guy and try and grind the match out. So it's both. It goes both ways, and you have to see which kind of a player you are first. And if you have the game you feel where you can hurt somebody, or if I do my job correct, I can beat anybody. If you're one of those guys, which I really believe one of them is Prajnesh. I think because he has a big game, which I tell him many times. If you serve big and hit the forehand like you do in practice sometimes, what do you want the other guy to do? There's nothing much he can do. There's no question of physicality, because the ball travels faster than the guy. The guy can only run at a certain speed. If you hit the ball at 150 kilometers an hour, one here and one there, like Rafa does most of the time, then there's the talk about physicality or the opponent's mind or weakness, it doesn't even come, because you can be weak or strong wherever you want. But if I play like that, then pretty much all is fine. So guys like a Shapovalov or a Tsitsipas, they're not thinking about what the other guy is weak at. They come in and they try to do their side of the court well, and then that's fine most of the time. But for the other guys, if you're the other player who doesn't have that kind of firepower, then yes, you obviously have to figure out how to get to the opponent's mind, and uh, and also be physically very fit.
You must have seen a lot of ups and downs. What is failure according to you?
Failure, according to me, is not being able to do the things which you could have controlled. Like as in not executing those things which are in your control. Body language, attitude, way of thinking, um, courage while facing pressure, those kind of things. A failure to do that is failure, I think.
How do you keep yourself always in the moment to be able to do those things? What if sometimes you can slip up?
I think it's human. It's not even possible to stay in the moment all the time, because as human beings, we are always looking for the future, and that's a fact. Otherwise, life wouldn't exist, right? Because if you knew the year you were gonna die, and you wouldn't work. You would exactly make only that much money to last you till that day, and then you would chill for the rest of your life if that was an option. So the rule of uncertainty of the future is what keeps human life going, right? If I know I'll die next year, why would I train my ass off? I'll go meet all my friends first now. So it's not even, I think, humanly possible to stay in the moment, in the present, every time. And it's also very easily possible to live in the past, because we live off memories and we live for the memories that we are going to create, right? So there's actually nothing in the middle if you count human life as such. So what keeps us happy is what happened, and what we work for is what's going to keep us happy in the coming days, months, and years, or whatever. But it's just important to remind yourself to stay in the present. That's the max you can actually do to when it's getting too much, when you feel okay, you're doing way too much, or you're living way too much in the future, to tell yourself, okay, the best chance I can have a good future is to do what I have in my hand right now. Just to remind yourself. And there's nothing much more I can say on this, because I personally feel it's not even possible to stay in the here and now all the time.
Over the years, how did coaches impact your game? And now, based on what qualities do you decide if that's the right coaching you need?
Well, I think I've had only like two full coaches in my career. One I have right now, and one I had in Spain. The rest I wouldn't call coaching. They have impacted my life in a great way. But my meaning of coach is when a coach takes a player and says, "Okay, this many years I'll work with him, or this many months, and we're gonna set goals together and work on them." It's not about no, you going to an academy and you call that person your coach. So like that, there are many people in
When you're in the
Hyderabad that I
early
work
things,
with.
that's not possible, no, Mukund, to say that, okay, I'll dedicate myself to you for so many years and we'll achieve these many
No,
goals.
but I think coaches do for a certain set of players. That's the only players that make it. And normally it's in a number of like 5 6, yes, but they take a batch and they train. And that is what you call a coach. When you work with him on the court, he can work with 10 different players in the same day. But if you work with him, let's say from like 10 to 12 in the morning, every day on the court for a certain period of time, for months, I would say, not weeks, for months or at least a year, that's when that person becomes a coach in your life, and you say, okay, I worked with this person. Other than that, there's nothing that counts as coaching. They do impact your life, yes, every now and then they tell you what they teach you how to play tennis. All that is fine. If you take Nagaraj sir or DRC Kiran, of course they are still super close to me now, and even now they are in touch with me in our life, in my life. And at least DRC has done a few weeks with me. But even that is not called that. Yeah, he was my coach at one point. He was for a few other players along with me for a brief time. So like that, one Spanish coach and this coach I've had, and well, both of them, it was very contrasting opinions when it came to my game style, because the Spanish coach, he wanted me to play in a different way, which didn't really fit my way of playing, because I wasn't that fit enough, and I don't think I'll ever be to grind, come back 2 meters and start grinding on clay. And this coach, he just saw the unseen potential in my game and said, you know what, you have something that the other guys don't, so we're gonna work on building that. It is he worked on a more high risk game and said, okay, but I see that it's gonna work with you. You can be one of the guys who can, like I said earlier, to if I play good, I can be dangerous against anyone in the world. So when I started working with Martin, this is what we were really working on, to stay super aggressive and to use my strengths to go up go up in the sport. To not. I did have a few things which I wasn't using as good as I should be, and it was just all about how can we optimize this and make it into a whole project.
I've heard a lot of people talk about how we Indians lack in genetics or physical capabilities that are needed to perform on big stages in sports. What's your opinion on this? Do you think we lack in genetics, or is it the extra conditioning that we're given towards education?
See, we lack genetics in physical condition. That doesn't mean we lack genetics to play the sport. Because if we can think better, and if you can come up with more options with one shot, that's also equally dangerous. If you can be like, okay, if a Croatian guy can only see two angles or in a crucial point, and you can see four, because you're just smart enough, you're smarter, or you can think faster, that is also equally dangerous also. And I believe that everybody has to work something which they don't have. So there's no human in the world which is born with all the genetics. Yeah, Roger is there. Yeah, he's fit, he's talented, he's everything. But in general, nobody has everything. So there's something that you have to work for. And for Indians, it is the fitness in certain parts. Some Indians, if you see Sumit Nagal, is super fit. I think people, they just don't sometimes know about how fit some guys are. If you see Yuki moving on the court, it's super smooth and super elegant, and he's super quick as well. And Somdev is one of the fittest in the world, I think, when it comes to playing 5 sets and lasting on the court. So definitely, which part of India you're talking about, that's the first thing. Second thing is, yes, in case you definitely, it is an advantage. I think Eastern Europe, they are more athletic than us, but which doesn't mean we can't get there, because right now the technology and the fitness equipment, everything has changed so much that it is possible. Maybe not to the same level, but you can match him in a stadium court of a Grand Slam. If he gets away with his fitness, you can do something like hitting the serve or playing smarter. You can get there. It's just about work. And I think the genetics for Indians, it helps in playing longer. That's also another thing. Maybe, yeah, at 16, 17, a European might look better, but at 35 the Indian looks better. But unfortunately, we don't have many guys going till that line. They lose their track at 30, 31, 32, or even 31, 32. Nobody has come this far. They have not peaked at that age yet. So hopefully, we'll have players in the future who will crack top 100 at 28, 29 and keep it going. And then we'll really know if what I said is true or not.
As a tennis player, you're always on the move from one city to another, from one tournament to another. It can be daunting and can sometimes feel like an alternative reality. How do you not let that get to you, or how do you put yourself in the game?
Well, it is definitely tough when you travel so much and miss home so much. I especially Hyderabad. I really miss a lot with the social life and friends and everything. But end of the day, I really believe. Maybe I sound philosophical now, but I really believe one thing that you can't have everything in life. I think this is a basic reality, a bad reality. I wish it was the other way around, where one could have most of the necessities that he needed, but it's just not possible. There's always a choice that you have to make, and there's always one thing that you have to give up for another. This is the rule that the earth runs with. So yeah, I mean, it will remind you by itself. You will finally say, okay, yeah, but it was my choice end of the day to do this. So either it's this or it's that.
And when COVID happened, everything came to a sudden halt. How was that feeling of suddenly being forced to put the brakes? How did it feel to stay in one place physically and mentally?
It was a very mixed feeling, because I think we are talking about four. I think that year, it could have been close to 100, and we're talking about four slam main draws and 20 plus times on live TV. It's not just about a few thousands of money. We're really talking about big things. So when I realized that that's slipping away for a while, it did hurt a little bit, but at the same time, I allowed the time I spent with my sister, because we were sharing the room, and it's been a dream for me to spend that much time with her, because she is the only one that I missed during traveling so many years, and unfortunately, I didn't have the time to spend with her that much. But when I had a chance to really spend that much time together, I really was happy that way. No, it didn't really feel very difficult staying at home, because yeah, the tennis part was missing, but I am not that person who goes out that much anyway. So having someone next to me was very new to me. So I was actually happy that I am at home with a lot of company.
I know you were in Vienna when a terrorist attack had happened close by. Must have been
Yeah.
scary. What were your thoughts in that moment and later?
Well, it it wasn't as scary as it sounds, because it just passed. And my coach, I was cooking some Indian food when my coach called and said, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in the apartment. Why? What happened? Close all the doors and windows, and stay until I tell you. Stay there until I tell you." And I didn't even know what was going on, but he was like, "I'll explain everything later, but just do what I say." And then like 10 minutes later, my trainer called me and said, "I just saw that there's a terrorist attack, and it's not far from your house." And that's somewhere that I meet my friends every weekend, and because that's the center of Vienna. There's Hard Rock Cafe and everything there. So to think, okay, the place that you visit every now and then is a terrorist attack happening, that was pretty scary. But for how shit 2020 was, it didn't really matter that much. I wasn't really surprised that if a terrorist attack happened, to be honest. I think if it would be a normal year, it would really scare me, but for everything that happened in 2020, it didn't really change a lot.
You recently went through an injury, and you mentioned on social media that you're just grateful to be able to play again, and the level of tournament or the ranking doesn't matter as much. It changed you, I guess, to be more of an in the present moment kind of person. Could you take us through that change and how it came about?
Yeah, well, this injury was invited by me, because I ended up doing it while cutting a mango, and I was just holding it and cutting it. That there was a part of the mango where there wasn't any pulp, so the knife gained more momentum, and it just went into my hand, and I didn't know what to do, but I could see everything inside on my left hand. So for like, I did feel like shit at that moment, but I was like, yeah, okay, if you keep feeling shit, you're probably meeting your granddad in heaven, so you better rush and do something now. So the only thing that came to my mind was to book an Uber. So I just grabbed my passport and my phone. I was in flip flops. It was zero degrees outside. It was like freezing, and I was in a shorts and a shirt, and I just got in the car. I called my training partner who was upstairs, and I was like, I messed up big time, and I'm going now. You want to come? And he also joined me. And when I just typed hospital in the app, so I had no idea where it was taking me, but it ended up taking me to the best in Vienna. So that was just super lucky, I think. And then they said you have to do a surgery because you ended up cutting a nerve. So they were very friendly, though. I mean, I would be very grateful to all the doctors because at like 12 a.m. in the night, the first doctor said, "Listen, because you're a professional athlete, we're gonna call in the specialist because we want you to recover as fast as possible." So then he came at an hour later on a Saturday, and then he did the operation. They were also very friendly to go through the WADA list on the internet to see if any painkillers or anesthetics will get me into trouble. So they checked the anti-doping list and everything. I mean that was very amazing to see an Indian getting treated that way in somewhere in Europe, you know. So I really felt thankful for tennis to give me that, because I think if I wouldn't be a professional athlete, I'm not sure if I would get that kind of respect or special attention in that moment. Yeah, I mean, when I cut my hand, yeah, the next day I got the day after, 2 days later, I got discharged, and I came out, and my coach was standing outside. I remember I was walking out with the hand completely wrapped up, and he said, "You just look different as a person now, and I think this is the best thing that could have happened to you in your tennis career." I was like, why would you say that? And he said, yeah, you just look different as a person, and your eyes look different. And believe me, this is, for now, it sucks, but this is a very big important step that you will make in your life and in your tennis career, because once somebody sees what you saw, like blood around and everything. And I think this is true, because when I cut my hand, I wasn't thinking about top 100 or top 10 or top 50 or what tournament. I just wanted to be alive and to make sure I could play tennis again. So that was the only thought that was running for those few seconds until I got the shot and I went unconscious, that will I just play. So that time I wasn't thinking. So he was like, "This is the attitude you need to get in those big moments when you're on court, to be in the here and now and say, this is, I need to react for now and not think about what's gonna happen." That's how focused you need to be. So in that way, I think that is what made me change a lot of things in how I look at certain things in life, and say, oh, yeah, well, there are bigger things to than just being high up in the rankings. So this happened, and then I played a tournament much later. Actually, I mean, it because it was November already, it was lockdowns again. So I played my first tournament in Jan. But was I completely much better than before in being in the here and now? Probably no. But was I more in the right track towards going towards it? I would say yes.
In my personal opinion, the kind of life partner you need in professional sport is much different than what a regular person needs, because the sport and the players' focus on the sport will always take precedence no matter what. And very few people understand that. At the same time, as a sports person, you don't have the time and energy to date multiple people and figure out the right connection and arrange
Yeah,
matches. Well,
definitely.
that can go either way. So, does this whole,
Yeah.
how does your thought process work on this, and does it put any sort of pressure on you?
Well, it definitely used to, especially after my companionship ended. I felt maybe, yeah, having someone would be correct. But I think in the last 2 3 years, I've also figured out one thing, that it's okay to be single. It's fine. True love, I think, is like being famous, and not everyone can have it. And this is fine. It's like tennis, or it's like not everybody wins a Grand Slam, or not everybody does great things. So this was important for me to understand, to say, okay, I am a nice human being and all that, but that doesn't guarantee anything that I'll also meet another nice human and spend my life with her. Once I understood that, the burden and the pressure came down by a lot to say, okay, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, there are other sources of happiness also, which I am going to find and I will find. So this was important for me to understand. Secondly, does it take away, does a girl have to give up a lot to be a professional athlete's partner? Definitely, yes. I think I agree. For those 10 years where the athlete is on tour, it really, someone has to give up everything, and even after they give up, they don't get any credit. Only the athlete is projected in the limelight. So, which if they put in their career, if they put the same effort in their own lives, they themselves can be successful and can make money. Whereas when they do it in this, the only the guy gets all the attention and everything, but not them. So it takes someone with a very massive heart to come and do that for you, and they have to love you really unconditionally for that, in order for someone to say, okay, I'll give up so many things to just make you happy, which which is not that likely to happen, especially in India. I think with the way sport is seen, and all versus all the white collar jobs out there. So it's not a very easy thing to find, but I'm extremely happy that two, three of my friends like Saki and Praj and everyone, they found their plus ones. So I'm very, very happy for them actually. I'm even more happy and proud that two women chose them. They chose sport over any other easier life. So I'm that gives me hope, and that also gives me the some confidence in saying someone will might think of choosing me as well.
Once you reach the top, everyone comes forward and would want to sponsor you, but the main requirement is on the way to reaching the top. As you said, money is the main resource that can bring down great players. How do you think people who are capable of sponsoring will understand that?
Uh, See, I mean, money is hard earned everywhere, no? So they also want to spend it on the right person. Just because they have money, that doesn't mean they will just throw it away to you. And the players are also equally guilty in the past, because there are many guys who have blown up money, who have used the sponsor resources in the wrong way. I know guys who just bought a house and settled down. So that is also very guilty to how it is today. And tennis in India right now doesn't offer what the sponsor wants. Because there aren't any big tournaments in India. If those tournaments are in India, then it would be a different story. Because 2011 World Cup final was played in Wankhede. If the Dhoni hit the last ball six in Frankfurt, nobody would know about it. No, he hit it in Mumbai in front of 20,000 people, which is why he's a superstar. And because of IPL and so many other things, they live in India. It happens in India, which is why it is famous here, and that's how you attract sponsors. And tennis, unfortunately, all the big tournaments, they happen outside. And at least when India starts to have those at least challenges, because when I played in Bangalore, they were like at least 2,000 people watching. So if that keeps happening regularly in the big cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, I'm sure if a challenger happens in Hyderabad, some actor or actress who likes tennis will show up, and they will come to watch, and all those things will happen. And when that happens repeatedly, that's when they will also be like, okay, I'm getting branding, or I people are seeing my brand on uh, on TV and in person as well. So that's when I'm gonna get what I want. But right now, if you play even Wimbledon second round, unless you're playing Roger or Rafa, you aren't playing on center court. You're playing on court 17. I mean, if you play a Raonic or a Monfils, you're playing somewhere. It's not even visible, and there's no. If you're an Indian, okay, there is TV coverage, but there's no commentary. There's nothing. There's Star Sports commentary, but there's no multiple camera angles. It's just a normal camera focused on a court, and that is for Wimbledon second round or third round. So if unless a player really gets into the deep stages of a slam and becomes a superstar, then yes, money will start coming in for the other guys, or there has to be more events in India.
What's your biggest struggle right now, Mukund?
Right now is to believe that I can be back, or how soon can I be back? That's the thing, because so many, it's not enough challenges coming up, and sometimes the thoughts start coming like, do I have to start from futures again? And I haven't made 6 months have gone by just trying to get my form back, and now we are already at the half of the year, and I have to do some pull off something big soon. So all those kind of mental demons and all those things, I think is the biggest struggle right now, is to stay patient.
What future goals did you set for yourself?
Well, I don't think right now I'm really in a position to set goals, because I don't know where the world is really heading. One day I'm playing great, one day I'm not. So I really need to wait for some more time to see, okay, this is my level, and this is where I want to be. And even if I set goals where I have opportunities to do it, is another lockdown coming, or is enough tournaments gonna come, and all those things. But by at least end of next year, I would like to be where I wanted to be beginning of 2020, like to be around 100 something, and be playing at the big events.
Who or what impacted your life the most and how?
I think my mother and my sister, probably. My mom uh, teaching me how to just take life easy sometimes, because my dad is a bit serious in life. He can Small things can stress him out, and my mom is very daredevil kind of a person. Do it and let's see what happens. So that is one. My sister, like I said, the amount of support she has given me in her life, and my coach. I think to my coach, if I have to pick one, then it would be him. To see, okay, to come out of nowhere and say, you know what, we're gonna do this together.
Thank you, Mukund. That's amazing. But I want to end this by asking three questions that I ask everybody.
Yeah,
One
go
word,
ahead.
one word that resonates the most with you.
One word about myself, you mean?
Generally, like the word that connects with you the most.
Oh, connects with me or describes me or
Resonates as in something that's been in your life. Like it's that word just means you, not describes you, but you connect with it.
originality or authenticity.
Why?
Because I think I'm just original as a person. What I feel inside is what you get, whether you like it or not.
One thing you wish you had done differently?
Try to find a coach earlier.
And one advice you think is important to everybody?
uh, Something in excess is as dangerous. Wanting something too much is as dangerous as not wanting it enough.
Thank you, Mukund. Thank you so much.
And one more advice also, actually, these two I would tell anybody, or even my someone very close to me, is sometimes the process to get better is to stop doing what you're doing, then start to do new things. If you undo certain things in your life, I think that will already, sometimes of course you're not good enough and you need to add, but sometimes you need to take away some bullshit in your life to just be better, and that's enough.
Thank you, Mukund, for taking the time out. This is amazing and wish you a lot of luck in the future.
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and it was great